Hello everybody, welcome back to the James Lawrence Allcott channel and something a little bit different. You might have seen me on the Champions League live stream. I then unlisted that because you don't want to see it after the fact. But I am here and this is the idea. This is what we're going to try and do, okay? We're going to try and have ourselves a thinking out loud session each week if possible, or certainly when those big things drop. We will talk about it. We'll talk about it together like adults. We're not going to scream at each other and ranting away. Naming no names, I'm just saying it happens. We're going to talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, and I'm going to talk about whatever I want to talk about, and we're going to be thinking out loud. If you are watching for the first time, my name's James Lawrence Allcott. I am a football fan, a QPR fan, if you need to know. But obviously, I love everything football, and got a show on the Premier League called FPL FYI, so go check that out if you need some fantasy football tips. Also, I just released a video. I released it yesterday. It's The Process. It's an interview series I've got. Stephen Tries was on it. So me and Stephen talking about comedy, and he's talking about the sitcom that he wants to write. So we were talking about that as well, which was good. But really, I want to talk about the football right now with you guys. So get your comments in. I've got them right here. Hopefully everything sticks together. And it works out. Bear with me if it doesn't. And I've got 15 minutes on the clock. You can see that right now. So let's not mess about. First thing that I want to talk about is Arsenal versus Spurs. You see it in the title. Let me know what you think with this. I've got a few poll cards. So if you hit the little eye in the corner, you'll be able to see all of those. You can see a link to my video with Stephen Tries, but also who really won the North London derby. So, who really won the North London derby? Now, I know it was a draw. You know that as well. Okay. I think it was a big performance from Arsenal. But ultimately, there really wasn't a winner. That's not helpful. Let me know what you think. I'm intrigued to know what you guys think. That's the whole point of this, of thinking out loud. But the big losses really are that I look at Spurs and I look at them and I think they're in bad form right now. I look at Arsenal and I think there are problems there that can't be addressed with better coaching. Because I like Unai Emery. I think he's a really good manager. Let's have a look at the stats if I can get them up here, and you guys can see what happened. Let's have a look, see if we can do it. Bear with me. Hopefully this is working. Ooh. Oh, here we go. Sorry. So yeah, you can see the stats there, and in terms of the player ratings that WhoScored gave them, obviously everyone has their own different feelings on this. For me, I agree. I think Pepe was brilliant. I thought Lacazette worked really hard, and I think he's got the quality. When you look at front threes and people look at Firmino, for example, and how good he is, he really is good enough to be the Firmino of that team in a huge way for me. I think he works so hard. I do a podcast called Great Touch for a Big Lad, and we've got an Arsenal fan on that, and he was saying he'd have Lacazette over Aubameyang. Now, I'm not saying I totally agree with that because I think Aubameyang is so deadly, but in terms of what he brings to the team, Lacazette is everything you want in a centre forward. He's unselfish generally. He brings other people into play. You saw him tracking back and running even when he was pretty much injured. The other thing I seem to notice with him is that he gets to about 60 minutes and that's the end of it. Like, he's okay coming off. I don't know if there's something going on there physically with him, or there's just an understanding that he's going to work hard and then come off. But he doesn't seem to play many 90 minutes. If anyone knows why that is, let me know. Oh, I've got a super chat. So I have got super chat. I didn't know I'd set that up, but there it is. Maestro, thanks, man. Big inspiration. Keep up the good work. Well, that's cringe-worthy on my point, but I do appreciate the super chat. Thanks, mate. If there's anything you want to talk about, then do it. Lacazette, as I was saying there, I think he's awesome. In the game itself, the point I was trying to make in terms of Arsenal losing out long term, as good as their transfer window was, the big one, the 8 million signing of David Luiz, which I also said was a good and smart move when you've only got 8 million quid. If you've only got 8 million quid, then you might as well go for someone like David Luiz. I get it. But what I've seen in the Liverpool game and in the Spurs game are moments that are just outrageous, in my opinion. Everyone was going to Socrates, and I'll talk about Gary Neville a bit more in a second, because I thought that was interesting, how he went mad at Xhaka, which I kind of get. But he had a massive go at Socrates in saying you've got to go and win that header. I get that, and I agree with what he was saying in terms of the sort of assertiveness that you've got to show if you're going to go and commit and come out of your position as a centre back. But once that happens, David Luiz has got the whole pitch in front of him, and you can see his centre back in front of him going for a header. When that happens, defenders need to work in a way where they're thinking of the worst case scenario. Okay, so if they're thinking of the worst case scenario, you see your centre back going for the ball. You know, generally you feel a lot safer if you've got people around you and a nice back line there. When he doesn't win that ball and the ball then comes to you, you know you're exposed. You know you're exposed, but you also know you've got a couple of people around you, and you also know you're the only centre back left. So for him to half commit himself after that was a much worse thing than Socrates. I mean, it all gets compounded by Leno dropping a bollock, but David Luiz in that moment, that's not a defender for me. I can't understand how he can behave in that way, because as a defender, you think, what's the worst that can happen? That's how you read the game and see the picture of the game. That's what you want from your centre backs, and that's what you see with this Spurs team in terms of their centre backs. Now, Arsenal were better. We can go back to the stats again if you want to. Let's look at these stats. You can see that they were better. Look at the amount of shots that they had. It was absolutely crazy in comparison for a team like Spurs to be, having that little going on. The total shots 26-13. If I click on more, we'll be able to see what happens after that. So 26-13. One off the woodwork for Spurs. That was Harry Kane, of course. Shots on target, though. Spurs have had more shots on target than Arsenal have, and that for me says a lot. It shows that as dominant as they were, for me, that probably what's happening there is that a lot of those shots are being blocked. So there you go. You can see it right there. 8 of those shots being blocked. And when that's happening, that's probably because the defenders are resolute and reading the game and doing the right things. And that, for me, is the difference long-term between Arsenal and Spurs. That said, Spurs were all at sea for me yesterday. I was amazed at how unbalanced they look, at how they had such a sort of lack of fluency, really. And for me, ultimately, Arsenal won the North London derby. If you've got to pick a team that dominated the game, it was Arsenal. But there are some really big problems there that are going to keep costing Arsenal in the long term. And the thing about David Luiz, finally, for me, is that as part of a back three at Chelsea, they played as a back three, but it was a back three that stayed tight together. And when that happens, when you make those mistakes, you're less exposed as a centre-back. You've got to make less of the right decisions because you've got a guy 5 yards either side of you sorting it out for you. Here at Arsenal, with the way they want to play the ball out from the back as well, there's going to be moments where he's going to be really exposed. And I think it's not going to be the last time he makes a mistake, because he really isn't a natural defender, in my opinion. Let me know what you think. I'm going to go to the comments right this second. Right, let's have a look. Let's scroll up a little bit. I love Laka says Ibrahimi agrees. David Luiz. Henry Rouse. Good. That's a good point. Luiz will end up being cover for Rob Holding. I'm intrigued to see what Rob Holding's really about, if you know what I mean. Like, is he as good as the Arsenal fans want him to be? Or is he just the final hope for Arsenal because you're bringing in someone like David Luiz, who is now letting you down? Socrates, generally, I do like him as a centre-back, to be honest. What else we got here? Is Pepe worth 72 million quid? I would say yes, he absolutely is. I think you can see that the focus will not be on the front three anymore at Arsenal, and it will get them out of trouble a hell of a lot. And Pepe looks really exciting, has great pace, but also has really good feet as well. You see him trying to take the free kicks that weren't the best free kicks, but he was good. 72 million. I don't know how much anyone is these days. So I think overall, for you to have him as a player, the one thing I would say is that you'll hear this stat about the amount of goals he scored last season. A lot of those were penalties. Got to remember that. I think he actually only scored 12 goals from open play. I might be wrong with that, but it's something along those lines. Back to Spurs. Did Harry Kane dive? Yes, he definitely did dive. And as an England fan, I've got to say that when he's doing it in World Cups, I'm okay with it. But when I watch it, I'm watching it now and you can see it coming. And he gets away with it on the halfway line. He does that 2-foot thing. He gets away with it on the halfway line, but in the penalty area, I think you're going to more and more and more. You can say what you want about referees being neutral. You are going to see him not get those penalties, and you'll see him getting booked for diving. It wasn't a penalty for me at all. I don't think. I think he really needs to calm down with it, because what's happening with Harry Kane is that people are starting to turn on him, and it's not great. I think there's a general arc of the media often that you love this guy, get him up to a certain point and then bring him down. And I think that they can't have a go at Raheem Sterling anymore, so they're looking for other people. And Harry Kane is one of those, because he is such a savvy centre forward. I'm delighted he's English, and I'm delighted that sort of brutal finishing he still has. You saw it with the penalty. You saw it with the shot that he struck to hit the post. I'm going to vote here. So I'm voting on the poll card. Let me know what you think. I'm going to see what the score is, basically. Who really won North London Derby? I'm going with Arsenal. Oh, I can hang on. I'll have to refresh it. 100%, because I've obviously voted there, but we're about to find out where exactly you guys think it ended up in terms of North London Derby, and who will finish a bit higher as well. Who will finish higher at those two teams? I think defences get you out of a lot of trouble, especially when you've got someone like Harry Kane, especially when they're keeping Eriksen, which is huge, absolutely huge. And especially when you see someone like Son come back, despite the lack of possession that they had, you really saw how brilliant he is and how he makes them such a better team. So I think Spurs will get better. I think the fact that the European transfer window is done and dusted now is very helpful for them. But it was Arsenal's day. 64% of you guys saying Arsenal won the North London Derby. Interesting. Let's move on to, was Mane right to get angry at Salah? Now, okay, let me know what you think, guys. Oh, final thing I've got to say, Guendouzi is a absolute baller. A few people in the comments there. Emmanuel Tillahan, Guendouzi will be a future captain. I tweeted exactly the same yesterday. He was in his element, and you see it in these games. Pressure does a lot to football teams, and for me, he's someone who strives under that pressure. How Xhaka is the captain of Arsenal blows my mind. The decision for the penalty, in no world, in no situation do you dive in like that when there's that many bodies knocking about. He is a liability. And people try to give him chance after chance after chance. And I understand that, because there are moments where he's decent. But Arsenal, that's where they're losing their way a little bit. They need to figure out, they need to have one guy who's clearly the defensive guy. They need that hybrid guy who for me is Guendouzi. And then you probably, depending on the team, you might need another guy who can work hard. And so that could be Torreira, or it could be Willock. And then or if you're playing other teams, or you're chasing a game like they were against Spurs, you need Ceballos, who, when he came on, looked great for me. I think he's going to be brilliant, especially against the lesser teams. Slightly surprised he didn't start. Maybe they're a bit worried about him defensively. But for Spurs, for Spurs, they're disjointed, but they'll be okay, I would imagine. For Arsenal, there's gonna be games again where they're going to be disappointed with the centre backs. But if, like one of you guys just said, Elliot saying never a dive. Elliot Hackney. Welcome, Elliot Hackney, to the stream. Thanks, bro. You're saying it's never a dive. I thought it was a dive. I thought it was quite clearly a dive, to be honest. Final one. Manuel also saying Guendouzi Winks, better than Winks. I would agree with that just about, but I'm waiting for Winks to just grab a game. Like that, I think that's why they were struggling in the second half, as much as Sanchez shouldn't have been even playing in the second half. The other thing was the fact that Harry Winks, for me, needs to be that guy who goes, look, give me the ball. Let me just take charge of this for a little bit. I know that's hard with the press these days. You need to be able to have multiple people to get you out of trouble. But I still think there are moments where he doesn't come and get the ball quickly enough. I think he has to be that guy. And I want him to have that arrogance to go and be that guy, especially as an English player. Right, let's move forward. Come on now. So get voting again. Was Mane right to get angry at Salah? He was... I'll tell you what. So... he was right to get angry at Salah, but he wasn't right to scream like he did as he went off the pitch. For me, if your problem is with Mohamed Salah, do it on the pitch. Dig him out on the pitch. as he was coming off, he's understandably fuming at what had happened, and that kind of competition, it is good, but it's only good whilst you're winning, and probably that will continue with Liverpool. The good thing for Liverpool, they've got people like Mane, they've got people like Henderson, they've got people that come in and get involved. Van Dijk, obviously, leaders in there that are going to sort this out. By the way, the clock's counting down to 30 seconds already. We're going to go well beyond that. It might go on a loop. Just enjoy it. Apologies for such a long stream already. If you are enjoying it, hit the like button. Let me know if you're enjoying it. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the notification bell. I'm going to be doing lots of live streams. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on it all. Salah he's got to go to, Mane's got to go to Salah and dig him out there for me. I think, so in that sense, he's got it wrong. I like the emotion of it, and when you are emotive, then you're not thinking properly. But what's going to happen now is that's going to be a huge thing, because there's a sort of gossip in it, because he's not gone directly to him. He should just be calling it out, and then it would have been this one quick clip that people showed of Salah. Oh, he's desperate to get a goal, and Mane's annoyed at him because he's not making the right decision for the team. Ultimately, Salah is the best player that Liverpool... Well, that's an interesting one. I think he's one of the best players that they've got. So, you're never going to drop Salah. You're never going to drop Mane, who's an absolute live wire for them. So you need those two to get on. This will be something that, trust me, everyone will be looking at. Everyone is going to be looking at the next time Salah could have passed it but doesn't. And Carragher was saying that there is that feeling with Salah where he gets about 60 minutes in, and if he hasn't scored a goal, then he starts to panic and get selfish. That's something that you saw with people like Van Nistelrooy. You probably see it with Harry Kane. You see it with a lot of those great players, and you've got to kind of take the rough with the smooth. And that's frustrating. It's frustrating for those less selfish players like Mane. And Mane does get into so many great positions. I think there's an element there where Salah doesn't. I think you do need to have a word with Salah and go, put him on the spot. Go, do you think it's fair what you're doing? Are you being focused, or are you going a little bit too far and being a bit too selfish? All that said, he gets as many assists as anyone. So you can't totally dig him out too much. Let me know what you think. I'm going into the comments right this second. Am I too loud, Jack? Is that what you're saying? R.I.P. my ears. Let me know if I'm talking too loud, and calm it down a bit. Sorry. Here we go. Is that a bit louder? Is that too loud? Hopefully that's fine. Right, let's see what you think about Salah. Linda H. Manor did dig him out on the pitch. Well, if he did dig him out on the pitch, then why are we focusing on how he was when he came off the pitch? I watched the game. I didn't see that. If you're Richard Hook, if you are unhappy with a player, or sort it out off camera because it just shows unprofessionalism. Yep. I mean, you've got a bloke in his room talking about it to you lot. Wouldn't have been a thing if he'd able to keep it to himself. I think there's a lot to be said there, maybe. That's a good point, Richard. Astro, Mane has also been very selfish in the past. Yeah, true. I think there's going to be moments where people make the wrong decisions. It is starting to mount up a little bit with Salah, but again, he scores so many goals. He's a beautiful, brilliant player. Andrew Tunnard agrees with that pretty much. Every attacker wants to score. Mane just had a moment. Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think you need to make it too big a thing. I think the problem is we're looking for these kind of things, and so it is a talking point. I just didn't see him. That's a good point. Ibrahim 123. Mane only had 2 assists last season, so. But I think the point is, and you don't need it to be too big. You don't need to be too big in terms of having a go at Mane with it. But for me, I think the outburst afterwards is like, it's just unnecessary, isn't it? But when you're emotional, it shows they want to win, shows they want to score goals, shows they want to do well. So that's all good stuff. Right, let's keep going. Next one for me is the most impressive start of the season. We've now got the international break. England, Bulgaria. If anyone's got spare tickets to that, then I'd like to go. Just saying. But yeah, here's another one for you guys to vote. I voted on the is Mane right to get angry? 86% saying he was right to get angry, which is interesting. Most impressive start of the season. I'm going to put my vote in here, and then we will... Oh, I can see it now. Wow, interesting. Get voting now on the poll card. It's right there in front of you. So if we have a look, I can show you right this second the league table.
Let's have a look at it. And you can see after, it's just 4 games, obviously, but you can see who's been doing better than other players. Here we go. So, at the top of the table, Liverpool fans will be pleased to see winning all 4 out of 4. Goal difference of 12, which is pretty decent. So the 4 people I've basically gone with the top 4 there: Liverpool, Man City, Leicester City, and Crystal Palace. If you go from the predictions that I made at the start of the season, I think the one that you probably would say is the most impressive would be Crystal Palace. The reason I say that is because I had them at finishing in the bottom 3. I thought Zaha wouldn't deliver, and I wouldn't say he has yet. I would say after 4 games that's slightly misleading. But defensively, you've got to say they've been really resolute. You got the draw against Everton in that first game of the season, getting that losing to Sheffield United, and I thought, oh, okay, here we go. But then a fantastic win against Man United. That said, it was pretty poor in terms of their performance from them. They were defending for their lives, let's be honest. And then getting the win controversially against Aston Villa at the weekend. So that puts them in a good place. Leicester City, for me, I think we were kind of hoping, not maybe expecting, but we were hoping that they could do something this year. And I think we've seen that they are, they're here to stay. They're not going to be messing about. Let's have a look at their fixtures then. What was the first game of the season? Where are they? Sheffield United, yeah? No, hang on. First game, of course, yeah, Wolves, first game of the season, which is a tricky one. Got a draw from that. Then Chelsea, where, again, drawing, but they looked brilliant in that second half. Then getting the first win of the season, Vardy banging in the goal against Sheffield United. And then a really good, strong win against a Bournemouth team I can't figure out just yet. The other 2, of course, are the 2 that we expected to be up there. For me, I'm going to go with, in terms of impressive starts of points, I'm going to have to go with Crystal Palace. But I don't believe it for a second. I don't think they'll stay up there. The one thing I will have to say and be fair about is the power of Roy Hodgson. He knows what he's doing. His experience of his teams, he makes sure they're very, very tight at the back and solid at the back. And it's worked for them. I think other teams that have excited me going forward, I'd have to say West Ham, I think, look quite exciting. I think that the depth of midfielders and attacking players that they've got is quite exciting as long as Haller stays fit. The defence is getting better, and they will get better as well. And I think it's just a lot calmer there now, which is good. Who else has been decent? Apart from that, I wouldn't go too mad with it. Everton in 6th place, getting that second win. They were strange in that game against Wolves. And Wolves, what's interesting is the sort of the spin on certain teams. I think Chelsea, you're going, oh, they're young, but they're 11th in the table, which isn't great. Sheffield United are above them. Another draw yesterday. Had Robinson in my fantasy football team, which I was devastated about. But down the bottom, I think Brighton people have been excited about. Newcastle, everyone's been hammering at. Wolves people have been generally quite optimistic about, but they've drawn 3 and lost 1, so it's not the fairest of reflections, but they are down there. And Norwich City as well, scoring a lot of goals but conceding a lot of goals. But that said, Norwich City, keep an eye out for them. This is the real test for them now. They've got Man City next up, and then after that they have a nice run of games: Burnley, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Bournemouth, then Man United, Brighton, Watford, Everton. And so the next 2 months, there's a lot of points that they should be getting. But we will find out just how good they are, because they're going to go and try and play good football and they're going to try and score goals. But they're going to concede a good few as well. And it's the churning of that. It's when it gets to like November, October. It's can they deal with all of that? Can they deal with like losing badly again? Because that will start to hurt when it starts to get dark. Any other business then? Up to you guys. Let me know. Actually, quickly, European transfer window. A couple of the big ones. Bobby Duncan does get a move to Fiorentina. That whole debacle is an absolute mess for me. And a really sad thing for Bobby Duncan, that is going to be the top line in terms of, it's planted a seed in terms of what people think about him as a person, and that will follow him around in his career. It will do for a little bit at least, and that's a shame. That's not something he wants to have, and I think it's quite clear that the agent there is not helping him at all. Llorente's gone to Napoli. Surprised Spurs didn't want to keep a hold of him. I think he's a good option, especially when you've got these Champions League games. And the cup games as well, he's always going to be a handful. His hold-up play is brilliant, as we saw in that Ajax game in the semi-final. Falcao moving to Galatasaray, the latest in a long line of fantastic forwards that's sort of coming to the end and decide they can't be asked to go all the way to MLS, so they're going to play for Turkey, play in the Turkish league instead. 25,000 greeting him at the airport. And Mkhitaryan going to Roma. Not sure I totally understand that one, but he has been disappointing. He's suffered from injuries. And something's not really clicked with him, has it? I think there was... Sometimes players go from club to club, and sometimes there's a club where it clicks. And for him, it obviously was at Borussia Dortmund. Maybe Klopp was the kind of character to get the best out of him. But he struggled at Man United, and generally, it'd be interesting to know what Arsenal fans think. I think you say he's not been a success, of course, at Arsenal as well. So he's gone to Roma. So any other business now? Get your questions in. We've got 5 minutes on the clock there, hilariously. It's gone round twice, I think. So let me know what you think, and we can go through some of your questions as we speak right now. People going for different teams. Tom Sato, I don't think Mane is super selfish. I just think he has a ton of talent and not a lot of vision. He's always been very direct, and it will cost him chances, but don't want to lose that killer instinct. I think it's true. I think it really is. It's as basic as you want it to be. It's as simple as you want it to be. Salah should have passed him, and he didn't. And so he's pissed off. It's okay. He could have maybe done it in a different way. See what else you got. Cash Boyk saying Sheffield have been impressive. I have been impressed with them so far. They've got some good players. Got Luke Freeman from QPR last season. Andy Robinson from Preston, who is another player who has impressed me when they've played QPR over the seasons. They've got some good players there. I think they just maybe need to believe in themselves a little bit more and stick with it. McBurney as well has actually got really good feet. He's a good footballer. So Sheffield United, I think you'll just lazily go, oh look, they're from Yorkshire, so they don't play football. They all play football. They've got some really good players in there. It'd be interesting to see how they can go, and I wouldn't be surprised if they finish above Norwich, just because I think they've got a better back line. John Egan is a good footballer. I've forgotten the other centre back now, but they're good footballers. They're guys who are happy to pass the ball out. Richard Chris Wilder is a great manager who digs into players if something isn't right. That's true. Daniel Galloway. Where are you? Oh, he's gone. Kristen Hennig, my boy. Long time listener. Everyone go follow Kristen Hennig. He's one of my favourite writers, and he needs to come on the process when he's ready. Hi, James. Long time listener, first time caller. Who has been your favourite QPR player this season? My favourite QPR player this season has been, it has to be Abir Eze. This guy, QPR have had a tradition of having amazing number 10s over the years. Stan Bowles, Adel Taarabt, Rodney Marsh, Akos Puzaki, all the greats. And he is the latest in that line. But him and Ilyas Chair, who are two young players for us, will play Premier League football. So remember those two names. Hopefully it'll be with QPR because we've had a decent start. But either way, those two are going on to do something special, I think. What else we got? We're going to have 3 more questions, so get them in. David O'Dwyer, James, do you still fancy Spurs to grab second place over Liverpool? Right. Probably not. I would have to say that. Liverpool have... I think you're waiting and you're wondering if there's going to be that little sort of chink in the armour. But they look very solid. When you see the depth that they've got in midfield, they're going to keep having that energy. And they look very, very sound, and teams really struggle to deal with them. I think that's the difference. It seems really obvious, but as in any league, there are teams that can sometimes be great. There can be teams that are consistently good, and then there are teams that are too good. And Liverpool and Man City, I think we're clearly seeing that those are the two that are too good, unfortunately, for the rest of the league. Because I would like to see more teams getting involved. That makes it more interesting. But yeah. I would say that Liverpool will easily finish second. And it's amazing. There's a kind of an understanding now that Liverpool fans and players are going, can we win 35 games? It's as simple as that, because of Man City. I haven't spoken about Man City too much, but the football that they're playing is, again, frightening. And I think with Man City, there's a psychological thing that the other teams in the Premier League really struggle with. I think with Liverpool, I think they wonder if there's a possibility they can get something, and then they end up getting overrun. When it comes to Man City, I think they're already they've already lost before they go on the pitch a lot of the time, especially away from home. I think that's a problem that the rest of the league has got. 2 more questions, and I'll let you guys enjoy your evenings. It's a good point, actually. Lennon de Souza, thoughts on Laporte injury and the effect on City's title race? I think you might see Fernandinho playing centre-back a lot. I do. Will that make them better or worse? Who knows? I think with Rodri, you've got a little bit of height there as well to kind of compensate that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do that. They play Fernandinho, but they end up conceding a lot more set pieces because they don't have the same amount of big guys. Generally, in football, there's an understanding that you want 4 big guys to deal with the opposition in the other penalty box, and they're losing one there. Last question. Whilst I've still got you guys, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell if you've enjoyed it and you're still watching and you want to be alerted next time it happens. I would much appreciate that. And before I answer this last question, go check out the 2 videos that are on the poll cards there as well. You got ranking Premier League strikers and the process with Stephen Tries. Here we go. Let's have a final question. Let's make it a good one. Looking for a good... Oh, okay. Ibrahim. 1, 2, 3. Best player outside the top 6. Let me know yours in the comments below. Or on the live chat, sorry. Best player outside the top 6. Nominees for me. I'm going to go with... Zaha is definitely a nominee. Tielemans is maybe a nominee. Yeah, I think he might be. Maddison is a nominee. Those are probably the 3 that really stand out for me. If you're a top 6 side and you're looking to sign any of those other guys, any player from anywhere else, I think you're going to struggle to look beyond those 3 in terms of the 3 that you would want to have in your team. What I will say is keep an eye out for Trossard at Brighton. I've heard really, really good things about him. I've watched the highlights of Brighton each game, and he is the guy for them. I think he's really exciting, and we'll get a proper run in the team now, especially with the good start that he's had. So keep an eye out for him. Pookie's form has been good. Will he get the service for the rest of it? We will find out soon. But if I have to pick one, if I could pick one player that, if I was manager of top 6 side and I wanted to buy, it still is Zaha. I still think he's just he's why you buy a ticket for a football game. It is Zaha. So for me, it's Zaha. A lot of people go, "Oh, can he do it at a bigger club?" I think that there's good merits for that discussion because he plays for a team where there is a lot of space in front of him, which suits him. Could he do it for a team where someone's sort of sitting in against him? That would be interesting. Haller, George Smith saying it's a good point. That is a good point. Richarlison's better than Zaha? No, not for me. Not for me. Sorry. Right, there you go. That was Thinking Out Loud. If you enjoyed it, the way I will know that you've enjoyed it is by hitting the like button for me, subscribing to the channel if you're new. If you already subscribed, then hit the notification bell. And check out all the other content on the channel. The aim is to, just get out there and try and grow this channel as quickly as possible. So any support that you guys can offer me is always much, much appreciated. And we can have a decent conversation when things drop, when managers get sacked, when big news breaks. I've got a live stream set up now that hopefully we can all enjoy. So yeah, thanks a lot. Love you lots, and goodbye.